Poppy Playtime. It's a game. Speaking of that guy, today we're talking about Huggy Wuggy. I'll hug you till you pop. God, his voice is so fucking stupid and funny. But yes, today we're talking about Huggy Wuggy, Mr. Playtime himself. Funny considering a good amount of people actually thought that he was actually Poppy. But no, Poppy's this bitch. And she fucking dies. Okay, well, not really, but I'm sure a lot of people wish he was dead. But besides that, Huggy Wuggy, who is he? Why is he there? What does he want? And what's his story? And how does Chapter 5 redeem his character? Well, this is what this video is for. But before that, I'd like to credit Sir Lizzle for letting me use for letting me use his stream footage when he streamed Poppy Playtime Chapter 5, and also if you look closely, I was featured in that stream too. Look, I'm right there, and for some reason, I look like that. But besides that, let's begin the video.
Help me!
A tight squeeze. He's there, and he's gone. Now, is there a reason why he suddenly fucks off? Yep,
Yes.
a very good reason, in fact. But before we get to that, let's do a little summary of Huggy Wuggy. So as you know, Huggy Wuggy, he disappears. Then he comes back. Then he chases you in a pretty intense vent chase sequence before eventually, you just tip over a conveniently placed box where Huggy Wuggy falls to his fucking death. Just kidding. He comes back at the end of chapter 4 with him looking all bandaged up or broken or just. I mean, look at this guy. He's clearly seen some better days. As mentioned at the beginning of chapter 5, this motherfucker persistently hunts you down, constantly constantly chasing you, and Enoch managed to basically just steal your grab pack, temporarily making you disabled. That's not to mention that fucking cold opening gotta be one of the best cold opening ever. Like that shit was intense, especially with this motherfucker just not giving up. This guy straight up wants you dead really bad. Which there actually is a good reason why he does want you dead. Which we're gonna get into that.
We just end up falling into our archetypes, become part of the machine.
Alright, let's begin with this story. Now just like the many other toys, Huggy was, an orphan who was turned into a toy. More specifically, one of the bigger bodies, which is basically just a normal toy, but bigger. And just like the other orphans who all had the false promise of being adopted. Wow. And speaking of the orphans, Jesus Christ, what the stuff the signs did to those poor kids? Ugh. Like, listen, we don't know much about Huggy Wuggy when he was a child, as a human. But we do know what he went through, and oof, it is not good. Like, behold, this bitch. Whoops, that's a bit spoiler. In fact, that's what she turns into. But like I said, this bitch. Ah, Miss Gracie, the wolf in sheep's clothing. Damn. So, Miss Gracie's entire job is to legit act all friendly and shit, and basically gaslighting and promoting pro-toy propaganda. As in, she's like blatantly just telling kids that, being a human kind of fucking sucks. You grow old and you get sick and die. But as a toy, you don't have to deal with any of those problems. As a toy, you'll be much happier and be filled with joy, 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 joy. Basically trying to reprogram the kids' mental state or mind into truly thinking that they're their respected toy. Which is exactly what Huggy Wuggy went through.
Oh, they're fucking programming this shit and the kids.
Yeah, I told you, they're fucking grooming them to be toys.
The fucking butterfly imagery.
Oh man. What? Yeah, this does feel like the
Sunday.
freaking. This
No,
does
no,
feel
no,
like
no, nothing.
this feels like a World War II camp, bro. They are literally turning people into toys, restraining them, and having them just
Oh my god, it's a fucking
murder each other. Oh,
They're brainwa- This is propaganda brainwashing.
bro, this. I mean, it's
propaganda.
literally. It's
That
literally.
reminds me of something.
This feels just as messed up, man. Because like, those poor kids.
And when Huggy Wuggy fully became a toy, we see Miss Gracie again acting all friendly and wholesome and stuff, and trying to train Huggy Wuggy to do certain tasks like putting the right shapes in the right bin or timing it correctly. And if you put the wrong shapes at the wrong time, the wrong bin, you will be shocked. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, legit, like, constantly doing that and just trying to make him obedient as possible. Basically, just turning this man into a fucking slave. Dude, that gotta suck. Not to mention with this guy, as you know, eventually it gotta be frustrating. So the more, frustrated Huggy Wuggy gets, the poppy gas comes down and, to calm him down so he can do this shit over and over again. Like a good submissive boy. Or whatever they tell him to do. And the only reason why we know that is because they somehow managed to, I don't know, scan his brain or something, or some science bullshit like that. So the scientists and also other toys can see what he went through and learn from that and become obedient just like him. Because after all, good toys are obedient and do what they're told. And you don't want to be a bad toy, would you? Because bad toys go in the bad toy bin. And no matter how much they scream for their lives, bad toys will always go into the bad toy bin. Which is also extra fucked, mainly because these little smiling critters you see on screen, at some point, they just gave up and they don't want to dance. They don't want to beg for their life. Because they know at the end of the day, it's pointless. Which is really fucked up. Because, like, they're basically forcing Huggy Wuggy into murdering, or at least torturing these kids. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. And now listen, we don't exactly know what happens to them in the bad toy bin, but I'm gonna assume it's nothing good. Not to mention, I actually haven't mentioned what this lesson is for, the dance one. It's simple. When when the light is turned on, you stand at your spot and you only move when you hear the music. You only move when you hear the alarms. I told you there was a good reason why every time you hear those alarms, you always see Huggy Wuggy, because he was basically programmed to only move when he hears the music, or at least now reprogrammed to only move or attack you when he hears those alarms, which is a very good lore explanation on why Huggy disappears when you turn on the power, because you set those alarms off, which caused them to move. Genius writing, 10 out of 10. And now we get to see the third member. We actually get to see Huggy Wuggy being taken to the room for another lesson with Miss Gracie. But Huggy Wuggy's like, nah, fuck that. I'm breaking out. Why? It's simple. The gentle voices lie. They're not here to bring you joy. They're here to brainwash you. I guess Toby wasn't wrong when he said the gentle voices lie. And with that, Huggy Wuggy just slowly breaks out or tries to break out and grabs his fucking douchebag's arm and then chases another douchebag where, he eventually, he kills them. And God, just fully knowing Huggy Wuggy's backstory, like, damn, I did not expect Chapter 5 to be the Huggy Wuggy origin story, which makes it even more heartbreaking when he's about to touch the palm of Kissy before.
No!
How did you
No!
fucking know?
Oh, you are fucking. Oh, no.
A truly gruesome fate for a truly tragic character. You know, if chapter 5 was the final chapter, that would have been very poetic that you started the game with Huggy and you end the game with Huggy. But that's not happening due to
Fuck those.
Wait, what?
Leafy,
Well, now,
you're alive?
interesting.
That's what I said. This motherfucker backed up his goddamn brain.
No, 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 no. Wait, no. No. Wait, no.
There's a chapter 6?
Yup.
What?
Shit's going to get juicy.
What?
There's a chapter 6.
What? But I thought there was supposed to be a. I thought there was supposed to be a chapter 5. What the heck? I thought chapter 5 was supposed to be the last. What happened?
5 is like the magic number for these types of
Amazing.
games.
A booby
It always has a
No.
five.
actually
It
catches
seems Poopy
booby.
Daytime wants to break the ice.
Yup, there's chapter 6, and well, before that, you get fucking stabbed. But you don't die, you won't die, you won't die, you won't die. Instead, you team up with the doctor or a backup of the doctor. And damn, you know what's kind of funny? Huggy Wuggy in chapter 1 was just, your basic monster, didn't say anything besides, he's screaming and, and just chased you. And then, giving you PTSD trauma when you start tripping balls in, chapter 3. Which, not gonna lie, well, first, like, like, stage, not design's pretty gnarly, even though it's just even though it's just Huggy Wuggy, but also slightly different. It's nice and it doesn't overstay welcome, just like the whole area doesn't stay, it's over welcome, and it's just, look at this shit. Now this is horror. And then in chapter 4, you learn about his backstory, where you learn that Huggy Wuggy is actually a deep character, just like, I think Mommy Longless is deep, but like I said, deep characters such as Catnap, Doughy, and the prototype, which is funny because the prototype was actually always meant to kill him, because there's an audio log explaining that he's hunting down for 1107, which, if you don't know, it's the code slash the fucking number thing all the toys or bigger bodies are given for some reason, which is pretty cool. And in general, I really liked how chapter 5, despite all the flaws in what Markiplier said, this chapter redeemed Huggy Wuggy. And goddamn, Miss Gracie got what she fucking deserved. She turned into, because you don't know, you probably know, but yeah, as you know, I said earlier, Miss Gracie is Lily Lovebirds, and it is how ironic how the toys forced her into basically brainwashing herself, because she was forced to watch her human self, Miss Gracie, train her into a toy. Ah, the irony. You make yourself the monster. You make yourself a psychotic bitch that fucking dies, that fucking falls off like 40 meters and crushed by a cloud. Now that's comedy. And yeah, I think that was it for this video. It was basically more of a recap towards Huggy's characters that I really enjoyed, because I really liked what they did to Huggy, and basically just made from a forgettable character to an actually really good deep character. Same with, like I said, the others. And yeah, I'm hoping for the future. Well, obviously not Huggy's character because he's fucking dead. Because listen, I feel like if you bring him back again, it's gonna very much gonna undermine his death and I guess sacrifice. If you know what I mean. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I guess the only thing else I could mention is how both Huggy and Kissy parallel each other. Because when we first see Kissy, we first think, as you know, we first think it's Huggy because we hear those alarms. But no, it's Kissy, and we see Kissy again through some clever lighting. We think it's Huggy again, but no, 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 it's Kissy. But in chapter 4, when we see, Huggy, we think it's Kissy because again, clever lighting, but no, it's Huggy. He's back, and he fucking dies. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All I wanted to say. I think that was a good, I guess, lore explanation for Huggy. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Yeah, see ya.